lead us in pledge and prayer, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear Lord, please help us tonight, watch over us, and guide us as we make the decisions for the city of Boonville. Please give guidance and provide us with all the information we need to make the right choices. Amen.
Amen. Roll call.
Coward.
Here.
Harville.
Here.
Elbert.
Here.
Venable.
Here.
Davis. Bechtel.
Here.
Thompson. Here. Elverson.
Good. So do we have anyone wishing to make citizens' comments this time? If you would come up. Citizens' comments are, if you'll, I think there should be, like, hopefully, a sheet of paper that allows you to write your name and, is it name and address or name and phone number? I'm not sure what
Name and phone number.
Name and phone number on the comments section. Citizens' comments are limited to 5 minutes, and we always let people know that it's not really an interactive discussion. The council will be listening to your comments, but they won't really be commenting. And then if there's anything that they want to bring up in miscellaneous portion of our agenda, they can always do that. But so go right ahead.
Okay. Well, good evening, Mr. Mayor, City Council, Chief Ayers. My name is Tal Windless. My family and I live just outside city limits, though we're in Boonville almost every day. My children attend Boonville Public Schools. They're here for a little civics lesson, I guess, tonight. Professionally, I'm a senior software engineer, and I develop banking software. And before my current position, though, I spent over a decade working for the Governor's Office of Crime Control and Prevention for the state of Maryland, developing secure databases for juvenile offender tracking and analysis that had to meet strict guidelines. So I want to state clearly, I'm here tonight in full, unwavering support of the Boonville Police Department. Our local officers put their lives on the line every day to keep our families safe, and they deserve the best tools to do their jobs. And license plate readers are one of those powerful tools. When a stolen car enters town or when there's an Amber Alert issued, those cameras allow our officers to respond instantly. They solve crimes, protect our community, and I want our department to keep using them. But with the powerful tracking technology comes a critical need for the local security safeguards, and my goal here is simply to work collaboratively with you to make this tool safer for the innocent citizens of Boonville and its regular visitors. Briefly, I want to understand how we can protect our privacy. We have to understand that modern cameras do much more than just take pictures. In unincorporated Cooper County, the sheriff is currently installing Flock brand cameras, and Flock is a corporate subscription where the county rents the cameras, and that locks the data into the Flock corporate cloud. And there's been some recent incidences of even Flock employees inappropriately accessing that data. But Boonville bought Leonardo LSAG brand cameras, which is great. Our department invested over $38,000 to purchase them, and the city owns that hardware outright. The ownership puts the city in a position of strength, giving legal and technical authority to decide exactly where our data goes. We must recognize, though, how invasive commercial software can be, and built directly into both Flock and LSAG platforms are advanced artificial intelligence algorithms that perform what they call co-traveler tracking and event profiling. And that means an operator on the system can input the exact start and end times of an event, and with the AI will analyze the database to determine which vehicles likely attended like a gun show or a political rally or a union meeting or some specific church or daily school drop-offs, pickups. It's very powerful once you combine all that data and combine it with AI. Furthermore, the LSAG does have some security issues of its own. It's been flagged nationwide for cybersecurity vulnerabilities, including shipping with hard-coded administrator passwords, using unencrypted connections, and security researchers actually found active LSAG cameras broadcasting live regional tracking logs directly to the public internet without requiring a password. Additionally, these systems support other upgrades that perform what's called signal sniffing, which silently capture unique Wi-Fi and Bluetooth signatures, phones, other devices, headphones, things like that, and devices passing cars. And Boonville doesn't currently do that I believe, but the system that we have can be upgraded to do that at any time. So my main concern though is right now Boonville hosts our license plate scans on a regional federal database known as HHIDTA, which stands for Houston High Intensity Drug Trafficking Area. So on paper, it's a federal program that stores all of our local plate data on their servers entirely for free. But in reality, it comes with a massive cost to our personal privacy. Every single day, all of the driving records of everyone that passes by these cameras is bulk uploaded to these federal servers. Once there, our data is stored for 2 whole years, historical travel logs. And if you compare that to Flock, they delete their scans after just 30 days. What's more concerning is that there are over 400 outside law enforcement and federal agencies across the country that have unrestricted ability to run database queries on Boonville driver traffic without a search warrant, and they bypass local judicial oversight by doing that. When Boonville exports its daily traffic scans to this database, our residents aren't just viewed by police officers, they're accessible to thousands of private civilian contractors, contract analysts, IT vendors, who staff and maintain these multi-agency intelligence clearinghouses. I know because I was actually a contractor for the governor's office, and I had access to that. Not to this particular database, but other secure data. The stored 2 years of all local travel data leaves our daily commutes vulnerable to the exact AI co-traveler event attendance profiling I just described. And a centralized nationwide tracking database of this magnitude is a significant invitation for overreach. And we know that unchecked databases invite abuse even close to home. And
Mr. Lewis, I apologize, but the 5-minute period is come and gone, so I appreciate your comments. Have been well
can I
received.
have one ask? I just asked that if anybody's interested, I'd like to collaboratively work on there are ways that we can store that data here locally, and it doesn't get sent off, and it provides all the same technology. They still get Amber Alerts, all of that, but our data would be stored here locally. We just have to have a local server. We have to set up certain restraints.
All right.
And I would just ask that if anybody's interested, I would be willing to meet with them about.
Could you spell your name, please?
Yeah, the first name's Tao.
Sorry, Mr. Mayor.
Tao, and the last name is Lundolos, Lundolos, and my phone number's here.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other citizens' comments? If not, we'll move on to approval of minutes. July 20th council minutes. Are there any additions or corrections?
So one correction.
Yes.
My name is in the last part. Okay, you already got
We
it.
corrected
Okay,
it.
perfect.
Yes, ma'am.
Just making sure.
Yep.
You didn't like 2 first names?
Hallie Evan. Yeah.
Yes,
Okay,
Mike caught that, so.
Perfect.
okay. So any other additions or corrections? If not, the minutes will stand as presented. We have no consent items that I can see. Presentation of accounts and claims, appropriations.
Be it ordained by the council of the city of Boonville as follows. Section 1, for the purpose of paying salaries and various accounts against the city of Boonville, which have been allowed by the council at the regular meeting thereof on 8/3/2026. The sum of $535,648.71. General fund, $226,664.08. Sanitation, $4,663.43. CIP tax, $9,830.17. Waterworks, $154,317.27. Capital projects, $0.00. Wastewater, $101,020.96. Tourism, $7,527.92. Gaming, $18,027.50. Parks and Water, $5,394.88. Kemper sales tax, $8,202.50. Section 1, the accountant is hereby authorized and instructed to draw checks on the respective city bank accounts in favor of the persons whose salaries and accounts have been allowed as above, amounting to $535,648.71, being the total amount of money being appropriated. Section 3, this ordinance shall take effect and be enforced from and after its passage. First reading on 8/3/2026. Read for the second time this 8/3/2026, since a copy was made available prior to the meeting.
Second reading, title only.
Ordinance appropriating money.
Mayor, I move that we approve this ordinance appropriated money.
Okay, we have a motion, do we have a second?
I will second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the appropriations ordinance. Any questions or discussion? Roll call.
Coward.
Yes.
Harville.
Yes.
Elbert.
Yes.
Venable.
Yes.
Bechtel.
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
Okay, appears we have no unfinished business, so we're going to move on to new business. Consider Resolution 2026-015, amending the development agreement with Kemper Apartments LLC for A&D Barracks redevelopment. Do you want to comment?
I'm going to read it first. Sorry.
Okay,
A
sorry.
resolution ratifying and confirming an amendment approved on March 2nd, 2026, Resolution R 2026-04, and further approving an additional amendment to the original development agreement between Kemper Apartments LLC and the City of Boonville, Missouri. Whereas the City of Boonville, Missouri and Kemper Apartments LLC entered into a development agreement, ordinance number 4650, on August 21, 2023, relating to the construction of parking, abatement of asbestos, and the construction of 55 senior housing units at D Barracks and A Barracks to accommodate development on FT Kemper Park, and approved a First Amendment to the development agreement on March 2nd, 2026, Resolution R 2026-04. Whereas pursuant to Section 1 and Section 2 of Ordinance Number 4650, officials and agents of the city are authorized to approve changes to the agreement that are in substantial conformity with the original agreement, and may take such actions as may be necessary to carry out the intent of the original ordinance. And whereas Kemper Apartments LLC wishes to amend the development agreement due to fluctuations in the housing market, rising redevelopment costs, and tax credit deadlines. And whereas the City of Boonville, Missouri is agreeable to the amendment, and whereas the amendment of the development agreement will not be prejudicial to either party, is in substantial conformity with original agreement, and is consistent with the intent of ordinance number 4650. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Boonville, Missouri, that the City Council hereby ratifies and confirms the First Amendment approved on March 2nd, 2026, Resolution R 2026-04, and further approves an additional amendment to the original development agreement entered on August 21, 2023, with Kemper Apartments LLC as set out in the attached Exhibit A.
Mayor, I
Yes.
move that we approve this resolution.
Okay, have a motion.
I'll second.
We have a second to approve the resolution. I think under questions and discussion, I take you're going to lead with that?
Yeah, so Kelly and Andrew are here today, and I'm actually going to just let them, they're going to talk a little bit about the movement of the project from 2023 to where we are today, and also answer any questions you have. So
Sure.
with that.
Thanks, Kate. Mr. Mayor, City Council members, my name's Kelly Raby. I'm with a company called Riverstone Platform Partners. We're based out of Kansas City. Our primary focus is multifamily, historic renovation, focusing more on workforce, affordable, attainable housing. I grew up in a small town in Kansas, so projects I really like to work on are mainly in rural markets throughout Kansas, Colorado, Iowa, Nebraska, and Missouri. We've done some projects in Oklahoma as well. But how we got involved with this project, one of the consultants with Chris Ailes on Kemper Apartments reached out to us, I think probably in the May, about 4 or 5 months ago. Long story short, Chris mentioned he was kind of in over his head on projects in Iowa. He needed somebody to come in and help him on this project. We were looking around for new projects. He caught us at the right time. So we agreed to come in and basically be a co-developer on the project. So Chris kind of stepped away from getting the application done to the state of Missouri for our housing credits. We stepped up, and through that process, even Chris kind of took it a step further, where he's like, look, this is too much. I got a lot of projects going on in Iowa I need to focus on. If you guys just want to work on the project, go get the financing approved, refund or reimburse me the costs I have in it with a little extra additional costs or expenses, I'd be fine with you guys taking over the project. And we're somewhat reluctant in doing that because usually a developer's giving up a project. We like want to know, well, what's going on with this? Why would we want to step into somebody? Because it's always kind of a red flag. But once we did more research here, it's like, and particularly coming out, meeting with Kate and walking the building, it's like we got really excited about this project. We've done every historic project I do, I say I'm never going to do another one, and I've done like one a year since 10 years ago, and we've said we weren't going to do it. And with like the YLOS, former YMCA in Kansas City, an old school building in Baxter Springs, Kansas, and then working on another couple urban historic projects. And you learn something every time you do one, as I'm sure you all know here, doing all the great work you've done out there. But I think the reason we really got interested in this is through not only all the community support that's reached out to this, but all the work that the city's done to this point to really make this the final piece of a great puzzle that's been put together over the last 20 years. I mean, with the financial investment, with the folks that we just walked the campus and met with at the library today, and through the college and through everybody else, it's something that, well, you know, Chris, we'll take this on. We didn't see any red flags. And meeting with Kate, meeting with the mayor and other folks in the city, it's like this is one of the most exciting projects I've worked on in 30 years and has a lot of support behind it, which made us really take the reins on this and get it to where we are today. So some of the amendment items we asked for really more, the main one is shifting from 55 and older to more just family, unage restricted. And the reason we do that a lot of times is this is mainly going to be mostly one-bedroom units, so it's going to naturally rent to more elderly, 55 and older, single-person households, or maybe some young folks that are working in maybe in the YMCA or the library that need a place to live. So we can cast a wider net versus just focusing on 55 and older. That helps with workforce development, workforce recruitment for other folks in the area that need to hire. The unit count now, I think we saw several numbers. I'm just kind of highlighting some of the main things. The unit count we saw was ranged from 57 to 55. We're at 53 units. So it's 53 units. That's what's going in on Friday. It's 53 units. And the mayor did mention that, you know, it looks like these buildings could have more, but there's a lot of common area in them, big hallways. We got to cut in stairwells. We have areas like in the basement that can't be converted into units. We have an auditorium that's going to be preserved and open to the community for community events and those types of things. So 53 units is the unit number that I keep reminding myself, 53 units, so I don't get messed up. But I think the other, I can't remember if there were some other items. Those are the main things shifting from the 55 and older to family. Why we're here today, to ask for this amendment, just to kind of tie up some loose ends as our applications due to the state on Friday. Right now it's coming in about a $20 million project. About half the funding sources are coming from the Missouri State Housing Tax Credit, which is very competitive. The state of Missouri allocates about $18 million a year in tax credits, which equates to about $180 million total in capital equity that's to be raised. And every city that needs housing in Missouri, rural, urban, are competing for this money. So we're in to win these projects when we do them, so if I saw any hesitation or any red flags, we wouldn't be here today to ask for this amendment. I think all the pieces are there. Kate and the city has over the last 20 years really laid out a program here that is really exciting, and hopefully we get the funding done. And if we do, the way it goes, the funding gets approved, I think by Thanksgiving or between Thanksgiving and Christmas, then we would start in earnest in January to get our construction drawings done and hopefully be under construction by next March or April. So I don't know if I missed anything, but I'd be happy to field any questions or comments that you may have. Yes, sir.
A couple right out of the gate. What happens if you do not succeed in getting the tax credit funding from the state?
We would ask that we reapply next year again. I mean, unless the city would feel, a lot of times it might take one or two times to get them. We're in to win the first time. I think this, based on all the applications we've done, we're checking every box that the state likes to see, and particularly with the leverage. It's very rare that we come across projects with this amount of local government resources in it. So we feel good about it, but again, if we don't get it approved, we would ask, maybe to come back and say, hey, all the hard work's done, can we do another round, just set the building, put it, kind of mothball and make sure it's, well maintained, but then reapply next year.
And then when we talk about affordable, do we know what that means? Like you use a state or federal scale for
Yeah, federal
affordability?
scale. So on this project, on tax credit projects, we're going to be rent between 60% and 80% area median income. So we're calling this it's technically called a mixed income or income averaging project. So it allows us to rent the majority of the units at 60% AMI, and that's based off county, or actually I think we're in the Columbia MSA. So it's based off, which is good because then the median income's higher than it would be if you were just in a rural market. So that rent kind of skews off of that median income. So this is really kind of that more workforce space, housing authorities, and more of those projects focus on the lower, like 30 to 40% AMI. The tax credit program that we work with is really kind of in that 40 to 80% AMI range.
Does that readjust annually?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
how long is that term for the building?
For 15 years on the
15
property.
years?
Yeah, and then at the end of 15 years, we have to keep it in compliance, and there's another 15-year like extended use period, which is a point criteria. So really for the next 30 years, the rents will go up every year, it'll stay in compliance, and it'll be under that LURA, under that land use restriction. So at the end of 15 years, we can't just flip it to a market rate person who'll come in and run it to the ground. It'll be preserved along those lines.
And do you intend to, or are we contracted to, you continue to own that asset? Does this?
Yeah, we would have to, for a minimum of 15 years, we have to own it.
Okay.
Yeah, and as old as I am, I hope I'm around in 15 years. When you get to my age, mortality starts to face you down, but we'll be around, and the ownership, the legal ownership will be around for that, a minimum of 15, if not 30 years.
And manage it?
Yeah,
Correct?
yeah, you bet.
Okay. Do we have the city have oversight on any of the management, or or we turn over the asset entirely to them?
So the agreement, the original agreement, and what didn't change is that the ownership would convert
the
to them. I know from previous emails that Kelly did talk about that he wanted people to know the management and have their phone numbers who would be related entities. If there was something that the YMCA saw that they had concern, that they could call the manager just direct and say, hey, whatever.
Yeah.
Or your tenants are awesome, whatever the comment might be, but that they would have access to that.
and
But
if they
in
don't-
terms of who they hire and how they manage, that's their,
We're just regular zoning and
Zoning
code
and code
enforcement?
yeah.
Okay.
And if they don't get an answer, they usually have my number too, but they usually never gets elevated to that. But smaller town, coming from a smaller town, I like to know if they have trouble getting a hold of somebody, then get a hold of me or Andrew, and we can resolve the problems, but if there's any that come up.
Oh, I'm sorry. And I should just say from a code enforcement perspective, remember, it is like literally just the footprint of the building and
Right.
a little bit outside. So the rest of that area will continue to be maintained, all of the green space, by the parks crew just as it is now.
Okay.
Hey, why don't we just wait and see if he can get funding before we just move forward, or we have to move it
Well,
now?
he can't submit an application if he doesn't have this agreement in place. So everything, all of the background work, the ownership issue and the work project and all of this relationship has to be finalized for him to apply.
Yeah, and we won't take title to the property unless that financing's approved. So you're not giving us the building without having the financing in place. And we wouldn't close on it until the actual day that we're closing on our $20 million worth of financing. So if we don't get the financing, we can't close on it, you still own title to it. We don't have that, so.
We may want to flag one thing. This is in there as R2026-15. The Hill Ridge thing that we passed was R2026-015.
Oh, whoops. I missed, so it should be 16.
It
Thank
should
you.
probably be 016, yeah.
Yeah, just a quick comment. I mean, with the momentum that we have with the library opening, I've always been a big proponent of trying to get Kemper more developed. So, welcome Kelly and Andrew. I'm personally excited for the investment, and I hope this all works out because I think it's a very unique property, very unique area, and a really unique opportunity we have within the city. So,
Yeah,
I
thank
wish you all the luck.
Yeah, we agree. We concur. Yeah, it's a great.
I'd noticed the contract date went from 2026, December 31st to 2027, but then the construction deadline start date went out to 2029. If you do receive the funding, what is like normally they would make sure that you start construction by?
Yeah, so I would say we would want to close in the spring on our financing, and as soon as we close, and to get to closing, it's, we have to have permitted construction drawings, permits, all of our financing done. The good thing on this building, the long lead item is the historic tax credits, but that's all done. So that's all been approved by the state. We don't have to wait around for that. It sounds like we can get permits pretty quickly. Our local architect feels he can have the buildings drawn in 60 days. So our goal is, as soon as we get approval, we kick everybody off. I'd say the construction schedule on this will probably be about 16 months, so maybe a little shorter because of the demo and everything that's already been done. But usually 16 months is probably that. So we would beat the 24. I think we try to put in their 24-month construction schedule, but I think we would certainly beat that. So.
If I can interject just for a second, kind of bring a few of those concerns together, Si. I mean, and I think Councilman Bechtel touched on it also. With the extension that was discussed going to 2029, circles back to if they don't get the financing, if they don't get approved, there's a larger window for them to go back to the table. And then, Barry, in regards to your concern, if they don't get the money, they don't get the property. So it's not as if it's theirs, because currently BCDC owns it. That was part of the transition initially, so that we could go back in, abate the asbestos, and then circle back to the developers. So.
Yep.
Any other questions from the council? I do think this is a project that is filling a need for the community as to the folks that we need to provide housing for, and so I think that's good. And so I'm hoping everyone will be supportive of it.
Great. All right.
Okay.
We have roll call.
Yeah, no other questions, then it'll be roll call.
Coward?
Yes.
Harville?
Yes.
Elbert?
Yes.
Venable?
Yes.
Bechtel?
Yes.
Thompson?
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck, gentlemen.
New business item B, first reading of bill number 2026-013, authorizing and approving a vacant land contract for Cliff Drive property.
An ordinance in the City of Boonville, Missouri, authorizing the purchase of approximately a .44 acre parcel along Cliff Drive along the Katy Bridge approach from W.N. Geiger and Sons Incorporated, providing an effective date therefore, and repealing all ordinance in conflict with this ordinance.
Thanks, guys.
Moving on then to reports of standing committees. I don't know that we have any that I can see. Okay. Reports of city officials under mayor. I guess I am participated in the bookworm relay, which I think a lot of you all did too. Well, I thought that was a very great community building event to have that many people participating for a common purpose, and so obviously very excited about the new library being opened up. The other thing which I wanted to comment on is good luck to the 12-year-old All-Stars as they go to the World Series. So that's the only things under my mayor's report. City Administrator.
Just a few things. So one, obviously, we have on the agenda tonight the first reading for Cliff Drive. So Betty did accept our offer of $7,500. And Jeff did the negotiating for me, so thank you.
Tough negotiator.
I just want to talk a little bit on my memo on the first comment about the tax levy. So we have still not received the tax paperwork. So I'm getting a little nervous because you're supposed to approve it by September 1, and you have to put a public hearing, and it has to go in the paper.
But I think 2 years ago we were late.
So we've been late before, but it's not our fault. That's what I really want to say. It's all the paperwork comes to us. So
Right.
so as soon as it comes, we will proceed with that. And also to that point, like, I don't figure out the levy. The levy is determined by the auditor, and they look at our valuation, and then they could take the Hancock Amendment and the increased valuation. They do a whole bunch, then they say, here's what you can do. So if you're asking how the rate got created, that's what I know, and you should call the auditor for more questions on that one. And then the last thing is I have several work sessions that I would like to schedule. I'm trying to get ahead of the budget session for you guys this year a little bit. So things that you've asked us to look at. And I said December, but I really meant October. So I'm already moving ahead. But the first one is 921, and I want to talk about water. We have a pretty extensive slideshow that talks about water, how the water rates get to be what they are, the things that contribute to water, all the things. And so I want to start that one at 5 p.m. It'll probably be about an hour presentation and then an hour for us to discuss water rates. If there is something you guys want to change, I would like to kind of have a direction before we get closer to the end of the year. It's stressful on staff if we're in the March meeting talking about rates and levels and all the things. So the next one is 10-5 for the airport. We've been kind of doing a little behind the scenes work on should we look at the airport in a different way. Up to this point, I haven't spent any money, so I kind of want to know if you guys want me to spend money. So that's what Lochner's going to come in. That can start at 6 o'clock. The last one is,
Well, we've spent quite a bit of
oh,
money.
I meant planning money. Like it would be like feasibility studies and that kind
Fair
of
enough.
stuff.
You're not talking about city budget.
No,
because
no,
we've
no,
spent
no.
quite a bit
I'm
of
just talking about like if we want to put money to hire consultants to look at an expanded scope of the airport.
Yep.
That's what I meant, sorry.
Fair enough.
Up to this point, we've done exploratory work.
Thank you.
And then the last one was 1019 for gaming funding. I think Andrew, was it Andrew that asked for that?
Yeah, I brought up the distribution of funds
Yep.
from the gaming year over year. Yes, that's correct.
So I would like to do that one also at 6 o'clock, and that would be in October. So if you guys want us to change something, we can do something before we get into the next one. Anyways, I think that's it, and the pool closes on the 16th, so it's probably cooled down a little now since it's gotten cooler, so,
It was fast.
yep.
Okay, then we'll move on to the city clerk report. Looks like we have the Bama Customer Appreciation Event.
Yes, as you guys see, there's the event permit, and Jason is here to come up and kind of talk about it, give a little information.
Mr. Mayor, council members. So we're kind of replacing the wine walk with this event is what our idea is. So instead of, we didn't have the wine walk this year, and we hope to have this next year, this would be a continuing event. We've got 2 street closures that we're asking for just to cover our butts more than anything, because we're not for sure if we can get the Morgan Street closure done and it makes sense for everything. And so we also ask for Chestnut. So we don't need both, we just need one. So we're having a customer appreciation week. Well, all the stores will have events through the week of September 7th through the 12th, and then the 12th is when we'll have the customer appreciation block party. So we're running to shut down Morgan Street, and I don't know if we have on the application we have, I don't know. I didn't fill it out.
Main to 6th is listed.
Main to 6th, yeah.
Main to 6th is listed.
Let
Right.
me clarify something really quickly. I only put the event permit in of them asking for Morgan Street, because I was kind of under the impression
Right.
that if they didn't okay Morgan Street, Chestnut would be the next.
Right.
But I don't see why Morgan would be a problem, but
Right.
clarification there, sorry.
So yeah, what we want to do is we're going to have either a DJ or a band on Morgan Street and have like a dance party like we used to have in Heritage Days on Morgan Street. We're going to have a couple food vendors there, and we would like some picnic tables, and we're just the local businesses are throwing in some money just to throw a party to say thank you to all of our customers, and that's basically what we're wanting to do. So we just need to have from Main Street to 6th Street on Morgan Street closed. I'm nervous about the pool part, the pool.
Oh, there's a, Jason, for those of you who don't know, I own the pub on Morgan, but there's a pool tournament that Saturday afternoon. There's always one on Saturday, but that's not gonna conflict, and there's no concert that night.
Right, I heard that part, but, so, I mean, that's just the basics of what we're trying to do, so,
Did you have a printout?
I do. I mean, it's just, yeah, I have, there should be 13 here.
So if council's amenable, we'll put the street closure, but also they're asking for an alcohol suspension, open container. So if you guys are amenable to that, at the next council meeting, we'll do both the street closure and the alcohol suspension.
I mean, Brad, if you don't mind, I mean, Brad, you own a business on that. Is it I mean, work for you,
Yeah, I mean, Jason reached out to me beforehand. I have no objection. I mean, I think it's what's good for the goose is good for the gander. I mean, if the downtown merchants, and a lot of this is through Boonville Area Merchants Association, and they're very enthusiastic, very active promoting the downtown businesses. So as a property, I have several properties on Morgan Street, and I have one business there, and I'm in 100% support of them, so.
And people that come for the pool tournament will make it to the pool.
Yeah.
I promise you.
Right. And the idea is like, instead of making us get like a liquor license, we can go into the businesses, into the pub or into Hooch and Leaf, and then they can come out to the street and have a picnic table to sit at, kind of deal, and just hang out.
If the council approves a variance for the open container ordinance, then they can make purchases at the 2 licensed businesses on that street and stay within Morgan Street from 6th to Main at picnic tables. And just like when they did the wine walk, if they vary from that, if they walk outside of that perimeter, they're going to be subject to open container ordinance violations.
Do we need to approve a variance for selling alcohol outside of?
Well, that was what we discussed. We're not going to sell outside, at which point in time myself and Hooch and Leaf would have to get a caterer's permit to sell outside of the licensed premise. But if the city's agreeable to the variance for open container, then we're working in unison. They can walk out the front door into the controlled area.
Fair enough.
And not be in violation of the ordinance.
That to me makes the most sense. But
Yeah, it's easiest.
Yeah, that was what we
I didn't know
contemplated,
if
because
we
otherwise,
approved this as
if
the
they
city
wanted us to
approved
do a bump out, like merchants will do on retail,
Right.
if they wanted us to do a bump out, we'd have to get caterers permits through the
Right.
state.
Really? Okay. Yeah, that's what I
like
thought.
if you wanted to step out on the sidewalk and do it, you'd have to get a.
But if you want to buy inside and walk
Right,
out,
walk
and it's
out,
not
that's
going to
fine.
violate ordinance for that particular time frame and this specific
I
location.
think that's fine. I think that's okay.
I think it's awesome.
Okay.
Yeah, I think
Then
that's a
we'll-
great idea.
drink
man.
alcohol.
I appreciate you guys putting it together.
We'll get the door knockers out, and then we'll have it all in the next meeting.
Okay.
Thank you. Thanks, Jason.
Thanks, Jake.
Anything else, city clerk?
Nope, that's all I got.
City councilor?
Nothing, I was going to address those particular issues, I just hit them, so if anybody had any questions, I'm good, but.
Economic developer?
Good evening, Mayor, Council. My report is in your packet, and of course, like always, if you have any questions, you can certainly ask away or feel free to call me anytime. It's been a fairly busy month with requests for information and also with entrepreneur assistance. We've received 4 inquiries from the Missouri, not the Missouri Department of Economic Development, but the group that markets the state of Missouri outside the state. We've received 4. 2 we had qualifying lots to respond to, which were done. The Missouri Partnership is transitioning to a new system. It was way more laborious than normal, but it's short-term pain for a long-term gain of the system they've switched to is to make future responses more efficient. So it isn't efficient yet, I can tell you. But you'll see that as a fallback and simmer there. So other than that, I don't have much else to report other than more and more I'm working with more interested entrepreneurs about doing things in town. So that's also very good, I think. Any questions?
Just one, Jim. We had, I think, 3 projects that died on like site or building readiness stuff.
Yep.
Is there anything the city can do to hedge that? Like, are those sporadic, or is there some type of infrastructure investment we should be looking at long-term to prevent that?
Yeah, so power has been a constraint as of late that we've discussed here, and will continue to be probably into the future. And when they put out these RFIs, so I would have to go back and look at some of these, but some of these are really outlandish. I mean, it's 50 million gallons of water a day. I mean, I'm being facetious.
Of course.
But it's like 4 or 5 times our production capacity might be a limiting factor. Well, that's not something we can solve. And in fact, the 2 that were submitted, Fallback and Simmer, are going to require an $11 million upgrade to gas to get to the site, which will make each of those projects, that's about 10% of each of those projects' cost. So I'm not sure, we may be out of the selection just for the gas upgrade. So I try to keep an eye on those things, and if we're even within the ballpark, even though it's an $11 million gas line extension, yeah, absolutely, I'll throw our name in the hat. But if it's a huge water thing, we're limited with. So it really varies, and I would have to go back and look, which I can do, and send you that information. Yeah, it's always what barrier do you run up against is what throws you out.
I just wonder if there was commonalities or anything for us to look at long-term, you know?
Well, so one thing that, so we've talked about energy as a barrier that we run into a lot, but another barrier we run into a lot is simply developable acreage. So the best acreage we have to market currently is actually in the village of Windsor Place. There is a 103-acre certified site there that is just north of the interstate that a lot of preliminary work has been done. It's relatively flat. After that site, we're down to relatively small sites that are still available in the Mid-America Industrial Center Park. And a couple of those really aren't preferable because they're not very flat. So we really have not that many developable acres that are available in town, and that's a limiting factor. So without going back and looking, you know, it's not uncommon for the request to come in for 250 acres. Well, we don't have it.
Yes.
Jim, you said north of the interstate. Did you mean south?
I meant south, sorry.
Okay.
Sorry, yeah, just to clarify, south.
Make sure it didn't move on me.
North of the highway.
Good, I was like, where is that at? I'm like,
I was thinking north of the village.
Yeah, no, you're good.
South of the highway.
I just wanted to confirm.
Yeah, it's the acreage. If you extended 87 Diner to the west, it's that acreage. So yeah, there's always a constraint. It's whichever ones we run into. All right.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
Thanks, Jim.
Anything under miscellaneous? Looks like we have a closed session, then. It would be a closed session pursuant to section 610.0213 on personnel. We're going to have a motion.
Motion to move to closed session?
Do you have a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Have a motion by Andrew Coward and second by Hallie Thompson to go into closed section under section 610.0213 personnel. Any questions or discussion? Roll call.
Oh. Sorry. Thompson.
Coward.
Oh, sorry, my thing's backwards. Okay, Coward, sorry.
Yes.
Harville,
yes.
Elbert,
Yes.
Venable,
Yes.